about John Lamont scripts of all the.
That is a hook. Good call.
Let's see. We have an official John Lamont script, which John, I think your name, considering how well your Kickstarters seem to be doing. What are you at on Angel of Darkness 4?
I'm a little over 7,500.
That's quite impressive. I haven't sent a single email in your support yet. I will after Palace, but 75 all on your own. Look at you.
Yeah.
So good.
Apparently somebody liked my 9.8 Garvey naughty book.
Yeah, I saw that. It's
So
like,
I was
you
like,
got
wow,
like a
that's
$700 pledge, where people were adding on like graded comment.
like, and I'm asking like 175 for that book. So maybe
Well, but there you go. I don't think I've ever done that. So, but you and Kyler are just like, you just get the graded books and people pay you money. I'm like, that's awesome.
Well, this is the most popular Garvey, second only to Miss Temperance #1, because somehow Miss Temperance #1 outperformed Miss Temperance #2. But
I think Miss Temperance #1 was better. Miss Temperance #2, I don't know. This is a little common. One was classy.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of that and already.
It was one was suggestive. 2 was like, this was like your teacher.
It was like the sequel.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you could tell like at this point she's been teaching for a few years and she's got a thriving OnlyFans business at home that she's trying to keep a little bit on the down low, but not too much, Anyway,
that's why I'm curious to see how Emerald Weapons Miss Temperance does, because I'm wondering if it's just having a different artist do her is more lucrative than having the same artist do her over and over. That's what I'm curious about, because Whiskey Paints really went crazy.
Yes.
Marissa Pope's really went crazy, even though Marissa Pope's other stuff isn't doing as well.
Well, I believe that was because of the design, which, as I was talking with you about, like that design came from me, and because Marissa Pope was like, here's sketch A, sketch B, sketch C. Which one do you want? And I'm like, none. Do this, and it's sold out. So I don't know. And Whiskey Paints, I pointed out, like his is kind of similar, and that we have kind of stacked authority figure, holding, some kind of wacky implement, and I think people like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Blood Feud.
Where are we in Blood Feud, John?
Where are we in Blood Feud?
So this is the issue 3 prescript. We'll call it that. So right now this is going to be the quote unquote climax of the Jefferson subplot.
The Jefferson subplot.
And who's Jefferson? Oh wait, Jefferson is a place?
Yes.
Yes, Jefferson was the blood farm.
Ah, excellent. Okay. The hospital place?
Yes.
With like the slutty nurse or something.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a John Lamont script.
It's a John Lamont script, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, and sorry. So just because I've seen so many versions on Blood Feud. So in this one, Decker is Decker's girlfriend is Artemis or something, right?
No, not anymore.
No. Oh, okay. We changed that. Okay. So does Decker have a girlfriend?
I think there's the one with like sex and violence action girl is the protagonist, possibly.
Yes.
Okay. So Decker
Artemis is now sex and violence action girl.
It's probably a better role for her. So it was
Decker, the role she was meant to play.
Exactly. Is Decker swinging single at this point then?
He has a girlfriend, but we haven't met her yet.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Is Artemis twin sister?
No.
So but Artemis used to be his girlfriend, like in prior versions, right? Or not?
Yes. There was a iteration of the script where she was.
So Decker has a girlfriend now that's not Artemis. So we just made
Yes.
Artemis a completely set. No, okay, all right, fair enough.
No, Artemis is now the character that I always wanted her to be,
Okay,
but for plot reasons, I was trying to make her relevant, but not the main character. So I kind of came up with this whole convoluted making her Decker's girlfriend thing.
yes,
But that wasn't working because you guys weren't really. I didn't feel like you guys were connecting with that storyline emotionally. So
yes.
that's why I basically said, okay, let's
Okay.
not do that.
By
And then
the
I
way,
also.
congratulations on selling so many Guinevere's.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to order some more of you very soon.
I'm here for all your
I-
Guinevere needs.
I have a horror con I'm doing this weekend, and then I
Yeah,
have another show.
I just did a
out
horror
in-
con over the weekend. And in part, I feel like this kind of mirrors popular sentiment. When Russia invaded Ukraine, I was able to sell a lot of White Lily, and that maintained for like
Oh,
a
I'm still selling
year.
a lot of White Lily too.
But like 10 weeks ago or something, like White Lily just and Guinevere, like everybody's like redhead boobs magic. Yeah, when sales of Guinevere have been taken off, so I don't know.
I did a show at a public library up in Cottage Country 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and I did so well at that, which was very, very nice after my last two.
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to Palace being a trade paperback because I'll definitely I did work on that. I want to have some copies.
Awesome.
I don't have the energy to stock singles because that's a giant hassle.
Yeah, it's a pain. Yeah.
You can stock the singles.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're racing to the finish line as soon as we can get Ediano available. So yeah. And people like Palace. I've been pleased.
Are you surprised by this?
No. I
It's got tits and swords. That's a genre.
Yes. But I mean it's unapologetically femdom, and people seem to be okay with that. So
that's a genre too.
Yes. But it's not a genre I see very much of.
Well, someone needs to write it.
Yes.
It is harder to sell that to teenagers. And if you're in comics and doing the thing where you're trying to revisit your Superman or Venom fantasies,
right?
You're not going to write that, are you?
No, exactly.
So here you are being an independent comic creator, like looking a bit outside the mold for your inspiration, and you found something that worked. I'm not surprised you found something that worked. I'm not surprised that it works.
Yeah,
but you definitely had to make it work.
I did. I'm curious once Palace is done, like how that's going to compare to like Guinevere in terms of like which trade people want. But all right, so who wants to narrate?
Obviously, I'm going to narrate.
Okay, go for it.
That's what I'm here for, right?
Yeah.
Angry narration.
Sure. Preston, you could do Decker. He has most of the lines.
Okay. Feel free to give me lines also, John.
All right.
Exterior, New Orleans streets, night. The blacked out police charger races through the streets, the lights and sirens wailing. Interior, police charger. Decker drives as Nick sits beside him, AR-15 at the ready.
We're pulling up on Jefferson now.
Backup is still 10 minutes out.
Exterior, Jefferson Free Clinic, back loading dock, night. Decker slams the brakes, bringing the vehicle to a halt in the loading dock. Exiting the vehicle, Decker and Nix move to the trunk, removing heavy bulletproof vests. Decker pulls a large metal case from the back of the trunk forward and enters a combination on the keypad.
What's in the box?
My God, is this a what's in the box moment? Decker opens. I mean, is this a what's in the box moment like Pink Flamingos or like Seven?
Just keep growling.
That was a deep cut. Sorry.
Yeah, I never saw Pink Flamingos.
I don't know the Pink Flamingos, so I have
some very gross
it's
scenes from it.
And then Divine eats it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, that was the scene I heard about. Yeah.
Decker opens.
I wish I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
like even just hearing
the
about
grossest scene in that film.
Yeah,
and that's a movie with a sex scene involving a chicken. The chicken's mostly just there.
Okay.
Anyways, Decker opens the box, taking out several AR-15 clips with fluorescent green paint markings on them. He hands them to Nix.
Load these.
What is it?
Silver. We're going in hot. We have no idea what waits for us.
Nix drops the unmarked clips into the trunk, taking the green marked ones. Decker takes out several devices which look like flashbang grenades.
What are those?
UV grenades. No offense, but I'd rather not have you setting one off by accident and frying my ass.
Decker clips the grenades to his vest before grabbing and loading his own AR-15 with green marked clips. Slamming the trunk, Decker leads Nix toward the back door.
Keep your head down and cover my 6.
Copy that.
They approach the door.
Blow the lock.
Nix places a small charge on the lock. Boom.
Boom.
Decker roars, his eyes going black as he kicks the door open. Interior, Jefferson Free Clinic, warehouse/farm, night. Decker enters the room, flipping on the spotlight mounted on the front of his rifle. Nix follows behind, doing the same. Inside, they find most of the body bags ripped open. The corpses lay sprawled out on the floor, most torn to pieces. Insane, frenzied vampires bite, suck, chew on the corpse pieces, trying to get every last drop. Several hang on to the bags of the corpses that haven't torn and fall into the floor.
What the fuck?
The frenzied vampires look up at both of them. They growl, bearing bloodied fangs, flesh stuck between their teeth, clothes stained in blood.
Fire at will.
The frenzied vampires attack as Decker and Nix open fire. The silver bullets rip through them, sending them to fire and ash, but they keep coming. Nix's AR-15 empties and he quickly reloads.
Fall back to the car.
I'm good.
It's your blood they want. Fall back. I'm going to blow it.
Nix backs out of the warehouse as Decker continues fires on their attackers. Back loading dock. Nix exits, finding himself surrounded by more frenzied vampires. He opens fire, carving himself a path towards the police charger. Warehouse/farm. Decker backs up to the door, pulling the pin on one of the UV grenades. He tosses it inside before closing the door. Didn't they blow the door open?
I think they might have.
I'm pretty sure they did.
He blew the lock and then he kicked the door open.
Okay.
All right. Boom. A purplish-white light explodes, sending nearly every frenzied vampire to fire and ash.
Nice.
Back loading dock. Decker reloads his AR-15, turning towards the frenzied vampires attacking Nix. He fires precise shots, sending a few to fire and ash. Wow, that's definitely some language that you really fell in love with in this script.
He did.
Nix dives into the car, locking the door as one of the frenzied vampires attacks the vehicle, scratching at the windows. Decker grabs him in a headlock, breaking his neck.
Oops.
He turns... Sorry, Decker grabs who?
The
frenzied vampire.
banging on the door.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Not Nix.
Yeah.
No.
Nix, turns looking around as the silence grows around him. He takes out his cell phone. Oh, Decker.
Okay. Whenever I'm writing scripts, or for that matter, whenever I'm writing, I'm very careful about pronouns because so often, like, it starts to refer to something and you're not sure who we're talking about.
And then when you edit away the thing that it's referring to, you have huge problems.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't. As long as the story works, then I'll be doing some editing when I convert it to a comic format.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
So
Jane,
that'll probably fix the pronoun issue too, because I'll be explaining who's in the frame actually doing what they're doing.
There we go.
But
Jane, we lost Jefferson. The farm is gone.
Fuck. Do you still need backup?
We need to get a new food supply ASAP before we have a feeding. God damn it. It's fucking Mardi Gras. Get SWAT and every available unit to the quarter. It's a fucking buffet.
Exterior, Bourbon Street, night. Artemis and Priest stand back to back, surrounding by frenzied vampires.
There we go.
Priest holds a pistol in his hand, Well, Artemis dual wields. That's not how you spell dual wields. Her silver fist knives.
I came as soon as I got your text.
Let's get this party started, shall we? Don't want to keep our audience waiting.
Artemis charges into the throng. She dodges an attack, spinning around, dropping a punch with the fist knife. Yeah, the fist knife, which sends a frenzied vampire to ash.
I just want to say, these are, of all the vampires I've seen in various genres, these are some of the most frail. They dive. They dive very easily. Anyway.
They also teleport.
Yeah.
As we learned at the clinic, and they appeared out of nowhere outside.
Yeah.
They what? I'm
Fires
sorry.
his pistol.
He's
Appeared out of nowhere
Danny's
outside
saying
of the
that they
clinic.
teleported at the last one.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
But continue.
Priest fires his pistol. Close up, engraved on the slide of the pistol, Iridae. Each bullet fired hits a frenzied vampire square between the eyes. 13 shots fired, 13 vampires killed. The slide locks open. Priest grabs a second clip, reloads. One of the frenzied vampires grabs a human victim, attempting to hide under a table. Is the vampire attempting to hide under the table, or is the victim?
The human victim.
Ah. Okay. Sensing Priest's approach, he uses the human as a shield. Priest fires a single shot. The frenzied vampire throws the human in the path of the bullet. The silver bullet curves around the human, hitting the vampire squarely in the head. One of the frenzied vampires grabs Artemis from behind as another approaches her. She kicks off the one front, flipping backward into the air. Okay. Coming down, she stabs him in the back of the head. As she lands on the ground, the fist knife slices down his back, severing the nerves around his spinal cord. She moves towards the first one. Police sirens can be heard approaching. She quickly guts the frenzied vampire, moving back towards Priest as he reloads a second time.
Watchman incoming.
This will be the first time I'm happy to see them.
Exterior, Canal and Bourbon Street. Several armored personnel carriers marked with New Orleans police branding screech to a halt as watchmen decked in full tactical gear and assault rifles leap from inside. Jane, a badass African-American vampire, appearing late 20s, early 30s, shaved head and no-nonsense attitude, leads the assault.
Danny, you want to do Jane?
Save who you can, but uphold the rules at any cost.
The rules.
Exterior, Bourbon Street, night. As Jane leads the watchmen down Bourbon Street, they find Artemis and Priest still engaging with their frenzied vampires.
Friendlies?
Hunters, stay sharp. Artemis flips a frenzied vampire over to the ground, stabbing him in the back of the head, sending him to ash. She glances up as Jane leads her troops down the street. Oh, Jane's female. Okay. Several watchmen break off, going into the building, securing them.
Look who finally decided to show up.
Priest backs away, not wanting to harass the watchmen.
Artemis, let's move.
Artemis stands, blood splattered across her clothes. You should go, now. Your safety cannot be guaranteed and is not my priority. Artemis looks past Jane as the watchmen continue moving down the street, securing the bars and clubs.
I guess okay.
I guess it was just good I was here.
Artemis, curious name. Where you born to it? Note the misspelling.
Yeah.
Artemis
Yes,
smiled.
I noticed that, how you pronounce it. Thank you. No, I took it after my hero.
You should be careful following the footsteps of your hero. Your path may find the same fate.
I bought the ticket knowing where this ride was going.
Artemis backs away from Jane, disappearing down one of the side streets. The watchman approaches Jane.
We've secured the quarter. The frenzied are secured.
The Scarlet Vein is releasing their reserves. Prepare for their arrival.
Yes, ma'am. And the hunters?
Our priority is upholding the rules.
Copy.
Exterior Canal and Bourbon Street, night. Decker pulls up behind the APC vehicles. He and Nix exit.
Nix, stay at the command center.
But
Stay. Night Watch will handle this.
Decker head down Bourbon Street after the other watchmen. Nix sighs, frustrated. As he turns, he spots Artemis crossing Dauphine Street at Bienville Street. He draws his pistol, running after her. Exterior, Dauphine and Bienville Street. Night. Within several yards of Artemis, Nix raises his pistol.
freeze.
Artemis looks back to him, arches a brow with a "Are you serious?" look.
I am serious. I don't think I'm Artemis.
I
No,
was,
no.
but really, of all the problems the Watchmen have tonight,
Heads up, Hunter.
Artemis throws her hands up. Nix walks slowly toward her.
Turn around.
Artemis turns around. Nix grabs her hand. She spins around, freeing herself and punching him in the side. Nix pistol whips Artemis in the face before throwing her down on the pavement, hard. Crouching down, places his knee on her back, pinning her down.
Stay down, bitch.
Nix zip ties her hands.
I will admit that didn't go how I imagined it in my head.
Nix eyes Artemis as she lays face down on the pavement in her backless, strappy tank top and mini skirt. Really? That's the second time this series, John. Do better.
What kind of slut vampire hunter are you?
The kind who always slays in more ways than one.
Nix smirks, running his hand down her back to her thonged ass.
Oh, yeah.
Is he caressing her butt? He doesn't notice Priest approaching from behind. Priest grabs Nix
Fun.
in a chokehold.
Just relax.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just relax.
Nix struggles, but
She
Priest
doesn't
has him overpowered.
Shh. There. You're going to go to sleep now.
Nix passes out.
Nighty-night.
Priest lays Nix down on the ground. Reaching over, he cuts the zip ties on Artemis's hands.
So, are you ready to go now?
Exterior, Rampart Street. Night. Priest leads Artemis to a black 70s classic muscle car.
We'll take my car.
They get inside. The V8 engine roars to life as Priest turns the key.
I didn't think priests were allowed personal possessions.
It's my one vice.
Just one.
You don't know me well enough.
Priest pulls out onto Rampart Street away from the quarter. Exterior, Bourbon Street. Night. Decker approaches Jane as she barks orders to the watchman. He's coming. Make sure everything is secured.
Jane, where's the watch commander?
On his way. And Nix?
I left him at command.
Good. What happened at Jefferson? Interior, Priest car. Night. Priest crossed the bridge, leaving the New Orleans night skyline behind him.
Are you all right? That watchman really laid into you.
Yeah, just took me by surprise is all.
I see you overpower and take out over a dozen vampires, but one human watchman gives you trouble.
Human men always give me trouble.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that's those 10 pages. Well, action happened, and there were a lot of vampires who got slew, and turned to ash and fire, and there were guns, and there were booty cheeks and thongs, and I mean, it's certainly something that like a horror crowd would like. It's got all those nice elements to them, and so congratulations. There's certainly plenty of action. Um, Artemis is doing things, and Decker is doing things, and people are doing things. So there you go. Things were done. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, this is a good start to a comics issue. Lots of things happen. It's full of action. People are just doing really a lot of the same thing, but
Yes.
there's definitely more to that.
Yeah. See, in terms of constructed, I feel like the vampires were kind of pushovers, and that made the fights a bit less interesting. Because like you don't even identify them; they're just like faceless NPCs, basically, that are just there to die. Essentially stormtroopers, and I feel like if you gave us fewer opponents who were more of a challenge, the fights become more interesting and therefore more interesting, better, So in terms of other stuff, I mean, characters have relationships. I think that's my only note. I don't know. What you got there?
Yeah, I actually agree with your suggestion 100%. These are supposed to be vampires. They're acting like zombies. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Why are they suddenly outside? Like, why don't you just have the fight in the warehouse? And then someone, slips on the corpse and it's dramatic. Like, what are you doing? Or use the tools that you've got. If these people are supposed to be threats, have them be threatening. And that's just not happening. Plus, when you start having hordes of frenzied vampires, like, why would anyone ever go out this town ever? No one would live there. There's too many of them. So fewer, more potent opponents is going to be better dramaturgy for numerous reasons. I didn't see the point of the scene with Artemis and Nyx, aside from to introduce them to each other and to have some unnecessary TNA, and you've already got enough backflipping, so that's your A quotient. And that really wasn't much of an interaction. And just didn't really seem to be going anywhere. Like, Nyx does something stupid, and then does something crude and stupid, and then there's no consequences. So that was, and then you drew attention to it afterwards with Jane talking to Decker about it. And so I have no idea what the point was of that, but it seemed to not go anywhere.
I also got to think like I don't know what the supply demand equation for vampire blood economics, but I understand they've lost a supply, but they also just lost a hell of a lot of demand because, like, what, 14 vampires? Like, I don't know, like the vampire population of New Orleans in your world, but
over 10,000. It was mentioned in
oh
issue 2.
wow, okay, that's a shit.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of vampires. Jesus. Okay.
They like to congregate in cities.
Okay. All right. 10,000. Okay. Well, then
Like,
killing off 100 is not going to do anything.
39 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because they might like to congregate in cities, but if I were a human, this is not a city I would want to congregate
in. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So, I mean,
Yes.
there's basically 10,000 of them, and with the exception of those working for the Watch, because that includes those, there's probably about 3,000 in the Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, wait. I mean, like, is the Watch a police force?
Yes.
Okay, but I don't think police forces are 3,000 strong.
So I'm referring. Okay, so yeah. So let me go back.
Okay.
So I'm referring in the entire metropolitan area, which is like 3 parishes.
Okay.
So it's a larger, think like Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and San Diego all in one.
Okay.
Like that area. So like the population I think is 15 to 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So in that entire area it's 10,000. And then the watch is not just the police. The watch is basically the security force.
Okay.
And the security force can be a combination of police, military, private security that might be in this area. So, and then Jefferson, there's 2 major, well, Jefferson is the major farm in the city, and then there's another supply farm that is north of the city on the other side of the lake.
Okay.
Which I'm going to go into a little bit more later, but only secondarily because in issue 4 the story goes in a different direction. But basically, that what was set up was that the farm in the city was supposed to be independently run, and the vampire group that is not aligned were not distributing the blood to the dispensaries. So that's why you basically had starving vampires, and when they don't get enough food, they basically lose their mind and turn
Sure.
into zombies or
Yes.
frenzied vampires. So that's kind of what's been building up, like with the whole bus scene from this iteration, issue 1.
I mean, I gotta say, like, we're losing a little bit of the romance of the vampires by this idea that they've become yet another population that some type of bureaucracy needs to look out for and manage and make sure that they've well taken care for, and they're not going to throw a fit, and they got enough blood, and you know. But
maybe it's an allegory about central planning.
it could be, yeah.
It's probably not.
It is based on the idea from that, it's basically, it's a global underground conspiracy. It's basically, they're the Illuminati.
Sure.
They run the world.
Okay.
And
mm-hmm.
that's kind of where it's a good parallel, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe Illuminati vampires aren't as sexy as,
Well, I mean, look, when
Illuminati vampires are fine.
Yeah.
But the people on the bus, like Artemis got the drop on them. That's not the same as these guys who, they need to be the alternative. The Illuminati needs to be the alternative to this, and it needs to be obviously better. So showing them being just as powerful as the Illuminati in other ways is a way to demonstrate that.
Well, that's the Watch is the security force of the vampire empire.
Yes.
Yes, we understood that.
Right.
Anyway, I mean.
So,
okay,
and the whole, and I will ask you guys this, because that
Sure.
I actually added the whole confrontation with Artemis and Nick's scene, because one of you guys made a comment that you felt like Artemis was overpowered. So I came up with this idea that maybe she has a bonus to her combat effectiveness against vampires, but a negative to her combat effectiveness against humans. Did that play, or did that just not make any sense?
That would play better if Nix was just trying to arrest her and drag her back to the car and then got interrupted.
Okay.
Because then they could talk. Like, hey, I just saw you killing all these vampires. Like, I'm not that good. What the hell just happened?
I mean,
well, that was kind of like when he pinned her to the ground, and then she made the comment about, that didn't go as I expected, and that was kind of where I was leaning in toward that. I had some ideas. I'd play with that.
What this scene is an opportunity to show these hunters and the Watchmen having a clash of values. Why are you arresting me? I was dealing with these frenzied vampires too and saving your people. well,
Right.
listen, we have to do it by our rules, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's got to be at the core of this. Otherwise, he could just let her go. She was doing his job for him. He can just,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I feel like this.
I've read a lot of Discworld recently, and like a big thing that pops up is, yeah, of course you want the cops to be kind of lazy. And, you know, they're going to be if you do their job for them. Like, they're going to be suspicious, but they're probably not going to, you know, arrest you for it. So, like, I'm just thinking in those terms right now. But, like, this is an opportunity to be like, how are their values different? What's Artemis? Is what Artemis is doing illegal? Or is it just different trouble for the Watch? Like, how do
It's
they
just
deal with
different trouble in a sense, because if a vampire gets out of line, you know, breaks the rules, whatever, they can stand in judgment against the Watch. The Watch will go after them for that. So if they get out of line, like attack a human, because they're not supposed to do that,
Mhm.
And a hunter kills them, then they're like, okay, well, yeah, you kind of did our job for us. But if hunters start acting against the Empire, you know, attacking a watchman or going someplace where they're not supposed to, well, then the Empire will go after them.
I mean,
So
I feel like you should explore this in dialogue in your script in the next revision.
Okay.
For me,
that was kind of the confrontation that Artemis had with Decker in issue 1, and I was kind of trying to hint at that with Artemis and Jane here in issue 3. That's kind of like they kind of have this tenuous relationship between hunters and the Watch, where it's kind of like they kind of have to walk on eggshells around. Well, the Watchmen are basically, they're just like, you know, you do what we tell you or else.
Yeah, so what you do
Whereas
is you have Nyx being like, okay, well, thanks for the assist, but I can't give you time to reload and take out some Watchmen too, so you're under arrest. And then they can have a discussion about it while they fight, and then you can actually exposit it and say it explicitly. Because you hinted at it once, now you've got to, you know, say it stronger the second time.
Okay.
I mean, for me, like the stakes here are, oh my god, if they lost the blood farm, that means all these faceless NPC vampires might go out and kill all the faceless NPC citizens.
Yes, that's what they've been trying to prevent. That's what this whole thing was about.
It was not emotionally engaging because, like,
they're all faceless NPCs.
They're all faceless NPCs.
Okay.
That's where you're going with that,
right? Yeah. Yeah. Like, you're like, nobody that you've introduced and that I actually might have grown attached to is in any danger right here. Nor are they going to.
Show us some horror. Show us, you know, a bunch of people like with no arms with like bead necklaces and their tits out or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, running down the street being horribly murdered. Like, that's what we want to see if there's a bunch of frenzied vampires in the middle of, you know, Party City on Party Week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Artemis is a good guy, air quotes.
Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, this is like, I feel like the script is spending a lot of times in like civic planning for urban fantasy, and
it's really good for me. I'm putting together a vampire one shot for Halloween.
Yeah.
So John's being really helpful entirely by accident for my planning.
Maybe I spent too much time building this world, and
yeah, don't show your homework. We don't want to read that.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. It's kind of what the feedback I'm getting is that I'm showing too much of my homework.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when I have a few more pages left to this issue, which I'll bring the next time we have a stream, and then my plan is to, if I'm happy with the feedback that I'm getting, then I will be editing and condensing it, and then I'll probably bring it back later in actual comic format, and then we'll see how those because a lot of times when I write screenplay format, I write big action scenes, and then when I'm like, okay, now I have to convert this to a comic, I'm like, yeah, none of that doesn't work, and I end up rewriting a lot of my. I've noticed that with how I write,
Mhm.
that when it comes to action scenes, I get a lot more tighter, just because I realize the actual layout and layout's not the right word, um, but how it actually it'll flow doesn't translate well. So anyway,
All right. So here's John. You wanna narrate
sure,
for us? All right.
sure. Page 17, panel 1. Helena, the human sorceress of the silver hydras, levitates above the shocked crowd.
I can bear this scene no longer.
Panel 2. Gretchen responds in relief and joy as Helena, flying above the crowd, sends forth a bolt of lightning from her outstretched
Oh
hand
wait,
that cooks.
shouldn't be that. No, sorry.
Wait,
No, that's an old. I'm killing that right now. There we go. So there we go. Flying above the crowd. Helena. There we go.
sends forth a bolt of lightning from her outstretched hand that cooks Thora to a cinder.
Gretchen would not be happy about that.
I was a little.
He
What
is
is
evil,
fying
though.
above this crowd?
Oh,
I'm not familiar with that word.
Where is that?
Fying.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh,
For
no.
drying?
I love. There we go.
All
Flying.
right.
There we go.
And who
Fear
is
not,
Helena
young
talking
one,
to?
for your lead shall suffer no longer.
Who is she talking to?
Wait. Here we go. Above,
Gretchen?
distressed Gretchen. I will fix the spelling right now. Distressed Gretchen. There we go. How about that? How's that work? We like that?
Well, at least now we know who she's talking to.
Okay, there we go. Fear not, young one, for your lead shall suffer no longer. Bolt of lightning. Pow.
Pow. Panel 3. Madramorph, the drow cleric of the Silver Hydras, removes his hood as he steps before the crowd and readies his magic. Gretchen falls to her knees in grief.
No! This was not the plan, Helena.
I have no stomach for torture.
Panel 4. With her back to the crowd, Tabitha brandishes her sword at Madramorph, missing the threat of the dwarf Donan readying his axe.
You have been branded criminals by the queen. Prepare to...
That's not what the line actually said.
Doesn't you have been branded?
You have been.
Oh, that's true. Fixing that right now. See? There we go.
Page 18. Panel 1. Dunan lops Tabitha's head cleanly off her body. She doesn't see it coming. Kill them all! Let the gods sort them out. Panel 2. Madramorph magically blesses Dunan as a horrified Gretchen stands over the corpse of Tabitha.
Blessings upon you.
Why?
For the experience! Panel 3. Helena floats over a grieving Gretchen's head.
We're here for the angel's blood the summoner gave you.
It's gone. We used it already.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Panel 4. Panicked, the queen calls for backup.
Governess Ho. Sorry, we are under attack. Governess Ho. High Priestess, show them the power of Viviax.
Page 19. Panel 1. Background. Burning undead Thora stands tied to a stake in the middle of the conflagration. Foreground. Samantha works the magic of her enchantment from the safety of the royal box above the fray. Sergei Punta. Panel 2.
Latin's
Burning.
way easier than Swahili. I just want to say that.
Panel 2. It's Shona, not Swahili.
Yeah,
Panel 2. Burning undead Thora's sigils glow with energy, evil energy, as she raises her head in recognition and malice. Cognition and malice. Panel 3. Foreground. Dunan and Nimbly cross swords with Sarah and Kathy. All of them seem intent on the fight. Gretchen looks towards the site of Thora's execution to see. Background. Burning undead Thora breaks free from the bonds that held her to the stake in the middle of the conflagration.
What magic is this?
Yeah.
Thora has arisen.
Page 20, panel 1. Foreground. Nimby looks over his shoulder in fear. Background. Burning undead Thora descends the burning pile of lumber, arms outstretched.
Grr.
Panel 2. Nimby dives out of the way as a jet of flame sent by flaming undead Thora.
Ah!
Join me in death.
Panel 3. Nimby hides himself behind Madrimorph, who takes the brunt of Thora's gout of hellfire.
Gah!
Page 21, panel 1. Thora's burning corpse advances on Madrimorph, who holds aloft his holy symbol.
The Lord of Heaven commands you back, foul abomination.
Panel 2. Thora's burning corpse continues to advance against Madrimorph's turning attempt.
Back, I say.
The harbinger of Ereshkigal goes where she pleases.
Tune in.
Panel 3. Crossing swords with Sir Edmund, Dunan looks over his shoulder. A bit busy at the moment, Nimby. Panel 4. Nimby ducks a sword swing from Governor Sarah by tumbling between her legs. She must be really tall.
Nimby's a halfling.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any trinkets against undead. Helena, fry it.
Panel 22. Page 22, panel 1. Levitating above the crowd, Helena surrounds herself with protective magical aura. Below her, Arika cowers behind Samantha, who casts a magical bolt of energy toward Helena.
Okay, I'm on it.
Discorta Magica. Panel 2. Samantha's Dispel strikes shocked Helena, who begins to fall out of the sky as her levitation spell fails.
Ah!
Panel 3. Helena falls right in front of the burning undead Thora. Longsword in hand, Madrimorph advances to interpose.
Madridorf, save me. Can you turn her?
She possesses a powerful will. Best to hack her to pieces.
Panel 4. Burned guts fly from burning undead Thora as Madrimorph's sword slices deep into her advancing form.
Rah!
Page 23, panel 1. Thora's hand closes over Madrimorph, locking his sword deep inside her guts.
Violence provides no escape.
Panel 2. Burning undead Thora comes face to face with Madrimorph.
From oblivion.
Panel 3. Burning undead Thora exhales a jet of flame through her pursed lips as she mimics the intimacy of a kiss, which consumes his head in hellfire.
Ah.
Ah.
Foreground. His head charred, Madrimorph falls to his knees. Background. Burning undead Thora stands behind him.
This is so unfair.
Panel 5. Madrimorph's head shatters into pieces as Thora brings her powerful hand together to smash.
We have a boom.
Page 24, panel 1. Helena magically teleports to stand behind a surprised Queen Erika. Off.
What?
Plan B, parlay.
Panel 2. Dunan and Sir Edmund cautiously uncross their swords as they stand away from each other to seek a peaceful resolution. What about burning undead Thora?
We'll get to her in a minute.
Who is Dunan?
Dunan's the dwarf.
You better back off. Helena's got your queen.
I'll stand aside.
Panel 3. Edmund and Dunan warily eye the blood-splattered form of burning undead Thora, who stands over the corpse of Madrimorph.
But I don't know about her.
Panel 4. From the royal box, Samantha works her magic as Helena and her captive Erika watch. I created her. She obeys my commands.
For what purpose? I did not order this.
Page 25, panel 1. Dunan, Sir Edmund, Gretchen, and Governor Sarah and Akasha stand aside as burning undead Thora approaches the royal box.
None command me, High Priestess. When my life ended, my soul became the property of my goddess.
Panel 2. Burning undead Thora's thought bubble. In hell, Thora looks upon a smiling Estegirl who points back out into the world.
She said she was not yet ready to cease watching my adventures in life. She freed my soul to re-inhabit my body.
Panel 3. Burning undead Thora walks up the stairs leading from the ground into the stands of the royal box.
I may do as I please.
Panel 4. Samantha stands apart from Helena and continues to hold Arica hostage with a dagger. All gaze upon burning undead Thora, who confidently climbs the stairs to approach them.
In terms of parlay, of all the women you could have taken hostage, the queen is the least loved.
Page 26, panel 1. Burning undead Thora stands behind an apocalyptic
Apoplectic. That's a
Apoplectic.
normal word.
Yeah.
apoplectic. Okay.
Apoplectic. Samantha created my undead form as a means to kill you, Arica.
What nonsense! Panel 2. Burning undead Thora stands behind the cruel Sir Edmund, brandishing his sword, while Helena continues to hold Arica captive with the dagger.
We seek our companion's corpse and safe passage out of here.
We accede to your demands. Let us part ways in peace.
Panel 3. Burning undead Thora builds a wall of fire between her hands as she looks on Helena and Arica with malice.
The queen dies regardless.
Page 27, panel 1. Helena dives out of the way as burning undead Thora's gout of flame consumes Arica.
Ah!
Page 28, panel 1. Her mission accomplished, burning undead Thora strides from the scene as Nimby searches the queen's corpse for loot. Panel 2. Governess Sarah and Akasha stand amongst the bewildered crowd of Illuvian citizens unsure.
What happens now?
Panel 3. Regaining her composure, Samantha takes center stage. Helena, Nimby, and Doonan stand to her right, Edmund to her left.
Who's Samantha?
Oh, that's right, I was.
Yeah.
We must find a new queen to lead us. As for our uninvited visitors...
And then,
Page
yeah.
29, panel 1. Helena, Doonan, and Nimby, who hold Queen Arica's crown, walk with purpose along the road out of town. You may go in peace.
So that's as far as I got. But I mean, we're kind of wrapping up the story here. Anyway.
So is Thora not actually dead?
She's undead.
I mean, but is that still her? Or was she being...
it's like her soul.
I thought she was being puppet mastered or whatever.
I mean, that was what Samantha wanted to do.
But it didn't work, it's basically.
Right.
That was kind of the feeling that I got, which I thought was a good twist, because I didn't like the idea of you basically... I didn't feel like her dying in a scene where the entire scene is being stolen by a bunch of characters who we haven't seen. Would be a fitting end. So I feel like this kind of is a little bit better, that they come in, wreak some havoc, and then leave, and then we get back to the characters that we essentially care about.
Yeah. I mean, my plan from here was Thora kind of departs and is now kind of Avatar Varesh Kagal out there doing whatever. In terms of comic book sales, I sell a shitload of Lady Death. Like, people love Lady Death. And, like the minion of hell running around doing sexy cavorting and whatnot. Seems like, okay, I could borrow a bit of that. But whatever, Thor is kind of off on her own, doing her own thing. And, kind of picking up the pieces. Ark is dead. Resolution of other characters. Close of the story.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I see that.
Well, scans. I think it might be better off to have Thora just fuck off earlier, and just be like, "All right, peace, bitches. I'm out of here. You guys can negotiate whatever you want. I'm gonna go start like my undead cult over down the road.
Right.
And if you come anywhere near me, I'm gonna murder everyone.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's the sort of like Thora mic dropping and leaving is. I feel like this is what you set yourself up for. because she spent the entire series dealing with everyone else's bullshit, and this is
Right.
like she's just been murdered, or
Yeah.
executed and tortured, turned into a flaming zombie.
She's had a hard
I don't know
time.
about you, but I'd be sick of that shit.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe that's the kind of Thor moment we need, but I don't feel like having her, like, John's right, having her hanging around during a parlay scene is not.
Well, she killed the queen. I mean, and
Does she need to be the one to kill the queen?
She doesn't. I mean, anyone can do anything.
People can kill the queen.
Yeah.
I mean, story-wise.
For that matter, the queen can keep living. But it just.
I mean, like, well, I mean,
plot-wise, so I feel like Samantha has been, Samantha realizes that the queendom would be better off for femininity's sake and whatnot if Arica wasn't around anymore. So Samantha has this plot to get rid of the queen, and Thora is completely fine with that. And I mean, Edmund would be perfectly happy if Arica was still around. Really, I think Edmund kind of liked Arica, but if Thora leaves without killing Arica, then like, is Samantha going to do it? Or is Arica just stay queen and put Samantha back in line, or kill Samantha for that matter? I don't know.
What if... Okay, so we want Thor to kill Arica and then mic drop, basically, and leave.
Right, which is kind of what I was going for with the scene. Like, kills her and just like, I don't care about, like, because it's like she's not parlaying anymore. Samantha's like, oh, you can go in peace,
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm thinking maybe she should kill Arica, then the parlay happens, and then she's like, okay, I'm out, and then just walks off.
Okay, so yeah, Samantha's
maybe that order would work better.
Right.
Because when you parlay, all of a sudden the action stops. And that's kind of where my first thought was. They call for parley, and you have 2 panels without undead flaming Thora. And my first thought is, wait, where the hell is Thora? And why, is she planning to do this? Because that's why I kind of feel like maybe you can use her torching Arica as the...
Just have the druid cast reincarnation on her and have her like fuck off as a bunny.
That was a plot. I mean, I was with magic and whatnot. We can alter her form to be whatever we want.
Okay,
as long as it's sexy.
Well, can Erishkigal alter her form?
As well. It's a fantasy universe. Anyone can do anything. I mean, we're dealing with goddesses, high priestesses, all kind of stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Parlay. Thora's like, fuck this. I'm out to get Arica, and I don't even care. She can say that as she kills Arica.
Right.
And someone else has Samantha hostage, like, okay, Samantha, we're going to parlay with you.
Right.
Right. And someone tosses the crown over. Thora tosses the crown over. Here you go. This is what you always wanted. I'm out, bitches.
Right. And my plan was to have Gretchen join the Silver Hydras.
Yeah, I'm behind that. Like,
yeah.
Well, like
PC leveled up to PC. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because they lost to PC, and oh wow, this person suddenly has this backstory and is
sorry your friend died and we murdered your queen. You're probably gonna get some flack for this, so why don't you come along with us?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then Samantha like gets her plot success.
Yeah, and then everybody's happy.
Yeah. How about we do that?
There we go.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay.
Because that's a good ending for Gretchen too, because she's one of the characters that we want to see good things happen to.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the hard part with this is nailing the dialogue and the timing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a few more pages, and really that Gretchen end scene is like 1 panel, 2 panels.
Yeah.
You need your walking off to the sunset, of course.
Yes.
Well, if you do the whole page where they're all leaving, she can just be with them when they're leaving.
Well, I'm gonna have a whole, there's gonna be a joke of like they've cast the respawn spell. You know, like it just happens when a PC dies. Like all of a sudden, this person comes out of seemingly nowhere. But there's going to be a bit more to do about Gresham becoming a PC. But yeah,
no, like I like that, and it lets you do all these things, and also have the flaming undead monster of an uncertain lifespan not care about parlay, which totally scans.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was a problem. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I say it works.
Cool. I'll polish it up a bit more. But
Cool. That's exciting.
awesome. There we go. Hey, I kind of winged it, but Palace seems to have done okay. Ended all right.
I think that's a pretty good ending, especially given that essentially the police show up at the end and ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and I've seen that movie too, and it's a comedy.
Yeah.
So given that's what you're going for, like you still gotta like the fact that you're also resolving plots while doing it. That does work.
All right, cool. All right. Well, thanks for stopping in, everybody. And
Yeah.
So next week, you think you'll be here or
50-50. Like
Okay.
it really depends on how my weekend goes and how long I
Alright.
stay up at the cottage if I end up going up. So yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for stopping in and hopefully see everybody next week.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.